is Brittany with the law offices of Jeffrey G. Marsacci, PLLC, and today we have Cheryl Theriault with us to help celebrate National Geriatric Care Month. So, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Brittany. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for asking me.
Oh, no problem. So, what is a geriatric care management?
A geriatric care manager is a health or human services professional, and we work with older adults and their families. Actually, we're talking about renaming or rebranding the organization, because it's not only elderly people that we work with. It can be people with disability or ill health who are struggling to find solutions to dilemmas that aging or disability bring into their lives.
Okay. What situations would people find themselves in that would make them feel they need a care manager?
We have people who have been providing care to their loved one, and it might be incremental that they started providing one shopping trip a week, and they'd bring some groceries in, and then they found that they were taking their loved one to medical appointments, and then they were making sure that the prescription medicines were refilled, and then they were making sure that medicines were put in a medicine dispensing box. And so over time, they just take on more and more caregiving responsibilities, and at some point realize they just can't do it anymore. We have folks who are caring for their spouse. Let's say a man who's caring for his wife with dementia, and he realizes one day when he's having chest pain, he goes, well, what in the world is going to happen to my wife if something happens to me? So he wants to talk to somebody to develop a plan for in case of an emergency medical need. He's the caregiver. We have families that can't agree on what their parent needs, and they think that they would call in a professional, get rid of the family dynamic, all of the family baggage, and just call in a professional for a professional opinion about what mom and dad need. We have people who have tried looking for resources on their own, and they spend lots of time on the phone. They go hither and yon, and they find after a month they still aren't any further along than when they first started, and they think, I really need some help with this. We have people who live at a distance, and their loved ones live here in the Triangle, and they want somebody to be able to put eyes and ears on their parent, their loved one, and stay in touch with them and let them know how things are going, even to be available in case of an emergency here. And they live at a distance. And we have people come to us if they're looking to move their parent into or out of the Triangle area, and we can assist with that kind of thing. So many, many different circumstances.
Okay. Who would you consider your client base?
Very often it's the adult child that calls us. They realize the need to bring in a professional. Often the older adults would just assume people not meddle in their lives. But they often will agree once the adult child asks them if somebody could come in and meet them, because we do make home visits, and we do pretty comprehensive assessments. The other person of the client base really is that spouse, the caregiver spouse. So one of those two.
Okay.
Mainly.
All right. What would someone expect if they were to hire you?
We do home visits. That we would prefer to make a visit in the person's home. And it's a pretty comprehensive assessment. We do want to talk about people's emotional well-being, their social well-being, their physical and cognitive state, their functional abilities, whether they can drive, whether they can shop, whether they can take care of themselves. We also include financial and legal assessments, and so often the adult children will say, well, mom and dad aren't going to want to talk about that, and we feel it a great responsibility to talk to people about whether they have their legal affairs, their advance directives in order, and if they don't, we try to help them see the importance of that, and refer them to an elder law attorney who can help them with those things. And the finances is critical because it helps people understand how things are going to get paid for, and whether it helps us help them understand what their options are. If they don't have money, then we try to find out if they have any entitlement programs that they might qualify for. If you need care, we've got to figure out how it's going to get paid for. And we also tour the home and see if there are any accessibility issues where home modifications might be needed, or if there are any safety concerns, scatter rugs or cords across the floor that someone might trip on. Falls are a real hazard for people who are aging. And then, the end of the assessment process, there will be a written care report. And it's a summary of all of the assessment findings, along with recommendations to various resources in the community, names and phone numbers. Call these people to get this service. Call these people to get this service.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Now, you can find geriatric care managers online. What would make people prefer you?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the online thing, because there are people all over the country that do this kind of work. In fact, I just came back from the National Association of Professional Geriatric Care Managers National Conference.
Wow.
This year it was in Nashville, Tennessee. They sort of do East Coast, West Coast, so next year it's going to be in Denver, Colorado. But there are 2,000 care managers in the country, and the www.caremanager.org has a button that says Find a Care Manager. So you put in your geographics and you can find someone in the area. Then, if you want to be a discerning consumer, you would vet the people who are available the same way you would hire anyone. You would look at their credentials, you would look at their length of time in practice, you would probably ask what their background is. Many of us are nurses and many of us are social workers. If there's more medical things going on, you might need a nurse instead of a social worker, although they're both geriatric care managers. And then I think you would ask for references and talk with some customers and just be an informed consumer. There are different levels of certification that are being required now, and years in practice, just all kinds of issues to ask questions about.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for stopping by to make this video with us. Where's a good place where our clients can reach you at?
Well, thanks for asking. I have a website where you can get a lot of information about care management. It's agingfamilyservices.com, and my telephone number is 919-781-5979, and I'm at extension 101.
All right. Well, thank you so much today, and look out for our newsletter this week. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brittany.